There is a world beneath the skin of our own, pulsing like a network of festering subterranean arteries. It's in places, words, and people, hidden in the frayed edges of our very souls. I used to be an optimist, much like you probably are now. But that was before I took off the blindfold, before my eyes were opened, before I saw the end. In spite of all my misanthropic musings, I don't mean I've seen the apocalypse. The horrors I've seen are man-made, as though we're the authors of our own downfall, the architects of our moral collapse. The horrors I speak of, if you can believe it, are all encompassed in a 15-minute video known only as the_end.avi, or Warui Nereta in its native Japanese. This may sound like some terrible, unoriginal creepypasta that even some hack like the writer of Squidward's Suicide wouldn't touch. But that doesn't matter, because this is all most definitely true. But before we proceed, just let me preface this with the information that I've never been to Japan. I know little to nothing about Japanese culture, and I don't even speak Japanese. So you might think that this definitely true-to-life article might come off as culturally insensitive or perhaps even stereotypical, but I never let my personal ignorance or reliance on cheap ethnic stereotypes get in the way of finding the horrifying truth. Now, let's run over what we already know about the infamous yet obscure Japanese shockumentary known as the_end.avi. One of my sources, a redditor called XXX Big Donkey Dong 69-420, told me a legend. If one views the tape, they often die within a 2-week period. Yeah. I fired him after that for being a fucking idiot. This is real life, not the ring. A more credible source of mine, a YouTube commenter using the alias 666 Trump for Prez 666, who claims to be an experienced former Navy SEAL with over 300 confirmed kills, aka a real bona fide badass who most certainly wouldn't lie about his credentials on the internet, told me the video was, and I quote, "the sickest shit I'd ever seen, and just another reason we need to build a wall to keep out the commies." I suppose what I'm trying to say here is that we actually know very little about this tape. After going through the internet with a fine-toothed comb, like that one I used when I got a head lice back when I was 11, right before picture date, goddammit. And I totally would have gotten with Susan McGill if it wasn't for the head lice, and that dick Brock Newman never would have taken her away from me. Stupid head lice. Stupid Brock. I found that even the information hub that is the World Wide Web had pretty much squat on this thing. This meant I had to take research into my own hands, pouring into Japanese books and watching unsubbed anime to try and better put myself into the mindset for this case. Yes, sirree. I burned through many long nights on this arduous research process, downing coffee, Red Bull, and a little bit of diet crystal meth, while listening to my complete Pet Shop Boys album collection. While research like this can often feel like a thankless job, much like being severely constipated, I forged on, knowing that eventually I'd find satisfying release, even if it meant devastating my anal sphincter in the process. And eventually, I hit pay dirt and managed to come up with some theories of my own. Never before had I considered this possibility, but it was quickly becoming clear to me that the existence of the_end.avi may have had some kind of profit motivation. Now, hear me out, because like most big conspiracies, this was hidden in plain sight. Remember how I said this secret, evil world hidden within our own often hides in words? I found this very deep-sounding and dramatic sentiment to be 100% true, as I found the evidence for my prevailing theory hidden in almost every conversation between Japanese people that I observed, whether on TV or from the bushes outside my local sushi restaurant. This thing goes all the way to the top. Now, every country has their national treasures. England has Colin Firth, America has Willie Nelson, and Australia has, I don't know, Ivan Milat or some shit. Well, from careful observation, Japan has their own national treasure whom is so dear to their hearts, they bring him up in every conversation. His name appears to be Harry Gateau. And while I can't find any actual details on him on the internet, from his name I think it's reasonable to assume he's a power player in the cake and confectionery industry, which I believe controls most heroin production in the world, and is also the leading cause of childhood obesity. However, I realize that if this theory was true, someone as connected as I assume Mr. Gateau probably is would be able to sweep someone like me under the rug. Not wanting to put all my eggs... Note to self, before I forget, buy more eggs. That omelet I had on Monday was delicious. In one basket, I researched some alternative theories as to the content and origin of the_n.avi. And, if I was feeling daring, which I was, how I might go about purchasing a copy. After getting a very interesting lead from an email correspondent claiming to have a copy, I wired him £500 as a sign of good faith. He's not really sent me anything yet as such, but I'm still feeling hopeful. For a moment, I was paranoid that Gateau had him paid off, or worse yet, killed. And while I had no actual evidence to support this theory, the prospect of its very likely truthfulness had me scared witless. I decided to lay low for a few weeks after that, not even appearing on the GTA 5 online servers. That's like a normal person abstaining from water or sex, or water sex, the most hydrating of all sex. Now, you may be thinking, but isn't this all based on conjecture? With very little concrete evidence beyond hearsay to back it up? To which I'd first reply, shut the fuck up, and to which I could then add, it's a rookie move to assume you actually need evidence. If NBC's Hannibal has taught me anything, the only real way to solve a crime is through pure, untapped intuition. That and demonic deer. Deermonic! Isn't that clever? Come to think of it, antlers are kind of a recurring motif in a lot of violent crime dramas. Hannibal, True Detective, Bambi. I wonder if Gateau has antlers. I bet he does. Sorry, I'm getting off track. Intense investigations like this can take you to some dark places, which always carries the inherent threat of bringing some darkness back into you. It's just like Nietzsche once said, that shit's nasty, bro. But, as a seeker of truth, I have to see any hits taken to my emotional well-being as purely collateral damage. I'll allow myself only brief, daily 20-minute crying sessions before brushing it off and moving onwards and upwards. If I ever wish to find the_n.avi, I've got to become as soulless and empty as a late-night talk show host. Oftentimes, an investigation like this can lead to some frustrating dead ends. For example, I paid a considerable amount of money for plane tickets to a small town in the Pacific Northwest called St. Raywood to see if it could hold any answers. But all I found was that St. Raywood is an anagram of Tana's Doorway, which is both total gibberish and utterly unrelated to my investigation. Thankfully, I was able to remunerate myself by auctioning off my vintage Sonic the Hedgehog-shaped butt plug collection on eBay. As I said, this job entails some serious sacrifices. Following this disappointing excursion, I went to a seedy bondage den in a nearby city with a reputation for strange and depraved activity. Then, feeling renewed, I continued my investigation, posting on several Reddit threads to see if any leads were hiding amongst the digital denizens of r/weeaboo and r/shitty horror ideas. I did this under a throwaway account, not wanting to run into XXX Big Donkey Dong 69-420 again, as things had been awkward between us since I let him go. Lo and behold, I was contacted by a Reddit user called Josh Dixon, a 23-year-old man living in an apartment block on the outskirts of Akron, Ohio, who said he had some pertinent information for me. Though he did say he'd prefer to remain anonymous, so I'll refer to him as my anonymous contact from this point onwards. Anyway, my anonymous contact told me that he'd heard whisperings on the deep web about the_n.avi. He, or she, Or perhaps gender-neutral pronouns. We don't know this person's gender. It's no business of ours. He's anonymous. Told me that some users on several popular deep web forums had been making posts claiming to have seen all 15 alleged minutes of the video. The deep web, land of serial killers, child pornographers, and journalists. It's like the internet equivalent of Glasgow. Naturally, the advice from my anonymous contact, Josh Dixon, seemed to point directly to the deep web being the only place where I could find more information about the_end.avi, after having depleted every possible resource that the surface web seemed to offer. After downloading an Onion router, I began my journey into the nether regions of the internet. It didn't start off great. I accidentally purchased a large quantity of uncut cocaine. I'll be setting up a GoFundMe for help on that one. These Colombian drug lords aren't big refund guys once the purchase has gone through. And got angrily yelled at by a series of surprisingly emotionally vulnerable sex criminals. I was about to leave, disappointed, when a chat window mysteriously opened on its own. It went a little something like this. Hello, friend. Hi, how did you open this chat box? I can do many things. Right, okay. Are any of those things telling me about a mysterious person named Harry Gateau? What? No. What the hell are you on about? Oh, see, I'm conducting this investigation. Shut up, cretin. Geez, okay, I'm sorry. I can see you, you know. Really? Oh God, how? Through your webcam, I can see your beautiful face. But I don't have a webcam. Everyone has a webcam, idiot. No, I honestly don't. I never got around to buying one. Really? Shit, this is an awkward situation. Have you ever considered buying one? I mean, this situation hasn't really made me overly keen on the idea. You really should, though. You can take selfies, talk to long-distance friends, record vlogs. I'll add you on Skype once you've got it so we can hang out, virtually and stuff. Oh, really? That sounds really cool. I guess a webcam really is an essential piece of tech for the modern woman. Definitely, ma'am, definitely. On a side note, though, know anything about the_end.avi file everyone is always talking about? Oh, sure. My buddy gave it to me last week. I'll send you the link. Sorry about calling you a cretin earlier. I realized this behavior was uncalled for, and I regret it. Awesome. And don't worry, that's all water under the bridge now. That conversation certainly took a turn. Not that I'm complaining. I got a new lead, a new webcam, and a new friend on Skype. The deep web really isn't as scary as people seem to think it is. In some ways, it feels less actively hostile towards women than most surface web domains. True to his word, Chatbox Man sent me a download link to a 15-minute .avi file called the_end. It seemed that after several long months of rigorous investigation, I'd finally reached the thrilling conclusion, the heart-wrenching, pulse-pounding nightmare that is the_end.avi. My emotional state was struggling harder than the cholesterol-filled veins of the sinister Mr. Gateau's young victims as I hit download and waited for around 25 minutes while the data transferred. I'll admit, 25 minutes is a pretty long time to sit still. I mean, I've got a lot of energy in me, so I got myself a pot noodle, checked on my Tamagotchi, alive and well if you're interested, has been for 14 years, and a jog around the neighborhood. Just your standard evening stuff. Then when I got back, I saw that the video had downloaded. With a mix of excitement and trepidation in my heart, I opened it, sat, and watched the video in its entirety. Now, a lot of people would expect me to go into every lurid detail, every voyeuristic facet of horribleness that was in the 15 soul-destroying minutes of the_end.avi, thereby leaving you equally mentally scarred. But I'm not that kind of girl. I don't intend to spread a single detail that was in that diabolical digital diatribe of the_end.avi. But I will tell you one thing, one single, solitary thing. It was definitely very disturbing. I could not eat for like literally 3 hours afterwards. Total nightmare. Total nightmare.